Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. The black foaming around me, don't know where I've been. The hell I'm back on fire, a drive that's your Cadillac. In fact, diagnosed sick in the head, that's facts. Still lacking no defense for attack. Coming down with a sickness instead. Everything I said, it meant to make sense. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Jackson Files. Today we're going to check out a video from that chapter entitled Finding Michelle Lee. I'm looking forward to this case. I don't believe I'm familiar with it. If you're new to my channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate you tuning in. If you like true crime, music, comedy, and sports content, then you've come to the right place. And I do YouTube full-time, so please consider becoming a VIP channel member or joining my Patreon. I would truly appreciate your support. And I will put a link to this original video in the description, so definitely show Mike some love over at that chapter and subscribe to his channel if you're not already. Let's get right into this. This is Finding Michelle Lee, that chapter.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video we're talking about, hey, what happens in the Bay Area stays in the Bay Area. That's what they say, right? Yeah, pretty sure it is. Well, hey, it's what we say now. Or at the very least, that's like what one person wished. There lies a hospital. Well, I mean, a few. And Nurse Michelle, was, working there. Until May 2011, that is. Because then she wasn't anywhere. The search was huge, it went on for a while, and it led to... I can't anymore. Let's just get into it. I don't want to kick the tires anymore, because this is... bananas. Let's give it a go. May 2011. What was going on in the world? You know, those distant years ago. A few things. At the end of May, the #1 song was Rollin' in the Deep. Parts of the Caribbean 4 was the big movie. That's the worst parts of the Caribbean. And Osama bin Laden got riddled. So, good stuff. And then, on the 27th of May 2011, 26-year-old nursing student Michelle Lee, she simply walked out of the hospital she was working at, studying at, to the car park, into her car, and drove off. Never to return. Wow. Never to return. So, it obviously sounds like she didn't make it to where she was going. It's pretty crazy so far. Now, she wasn't supposed to leave. She had left her post, if you will. And she only had like 1 hour left on her shift anyway. Not being that much of a rush to beat the traffic. Maybe she just decided to pop off early. Hey, teachers. Her instructor, about 2 hours later, came out into the car park looking for her. Because Michelle, she didn't finish her shift, she didn't sign out, and so a security guard went with her. Partly pissed off, students, partly worried. A few minutes later, the instructor, still in the car park, saw Michelle's car re-enter the car park. She then looked at it, oh, Michelle's back, and started waving. Michelle's car then swiftly reversed out of the car park, raced out of there, and it was too dark to see who was driving the car. Wow, that is definitely bananas. I agree with what he's saying so far. The hell, man. Weird. Well, yeah, that's what the teacher thought too, and called the cops. Suddenly calls started going out, and nobody knew where Michelle was. She wasn't picking up, but the phone was just ringing out. Her family, who lived 8 hours away, learned she was acting weird. And she was supposed to go on a trip with some friends to Reno the next day, but never showed up. Michelle Lee was born in 1984, growing up with one younger brother, but a host of cousins and close family. She was a local San Diegan, growing up in the northeast of that city. I mean, obviously there's probably a lot more to this story that we're gonna find out, but my first inclination makes me think that somebody was waiting in her car that she didn't know about. But at the same time, that doesn't explain why she would have just left, work an hour early and didn't tell anybody. It's really kind of strange. She graduated high school there and then went on to study nursing. It was a dream at Samuel Merritt in Oakland. Michelle's Honda was found the very next day. Didn't go missing for long. It was found at Ponderosa Court, about a 10-minute walk from Kaiser Permanente on Sleepy Hollow Avenue. That's funny because, as you will see, someone certainly lost their head in this one. The car was all locked up, and inside, things looked fine. Like Michelle herself had parked it there, and then went off. The Lay family, they drove from San Diego, making the 8-hour drive, and took part in the already, ongoing search. Find out what the hell happened to her. About 1 million texts and calls were made to Michelle's phone without getting it just ringing out and getting no response. However, eventually someone did get a text from Michelle. I am not missing. My phone has been crazy. It deleted everything. All these texts have killed my battery. Ah, that explains it. Alright. Fair enough. What? You haven't been answering the millions of texts or
Dude, this is like really weird so far.
calls because your phone deleted everything? What? She ended up replying to a shitload of people who had messaged her.
Sorry, I gotta read all these. Please stop, I'm fine, just taking a break from Facebook. I had a flat tire. I can't right now, my battery is dying and drops my calls. I'm fine, I'm looking for a charger. Just needed some time without anyone. I don't really want to talk to anyone right now, just taking it easy. In Reno, I'm sick. I had a bad night last night. Whoa, dude. This is fucking crazy.
And police detectives who had started looking into where she had gone, they got the same copy and pasted replies. Then, as suddenly as those texts began, they stopped. Whoever had Michelle's phone, they speak the bullshit.
She was last seen at this hospital in Hayward, where she is in a mentoring program. Lee told another student she was going to her car, then vanished. Her car found a few blocks away. Her brother says it is not like his sister to lose contact.
She always calls me. That it's Mother's Day, and I should call my grandma.
Now a reward for information about missing Michelle Lee, with word going out, one poster at a time.
So, the police, they wanted to obviously start looking to try and find her, and the first people they spoke to was the Lay family, her close family. They thought she had been abducted, which is, yeah. They wanted to know, did she have any beef with anyone? Any problems? Enemies? The only person she had a falling out recently with was a friend of hers, Giselle. Well, ex-friend. Michelle had known Giselle since high school, and they made a good match. They were close friends in San Diego. They moved together to San Francisco, attending college there. And there is where Giselle met a lad named Scott, and fell madly in love with him, eventually getting pregnant and having a daughter together. However, it didn't take too long for them to break up. But the issue was that Scott and Michelle remained friends. Something Giselle, she just couldn't abide that. She wasn't having it. Giselle actually blamed Michelle for the destruction of their relationship. See, Michelle and Scott had dated briefly before Scott and Giselle got together. And I guess Giselle was the jealous type.
Wow.
Just a bit of a wee understatement there. When Scott and Giselle were a couple, Michelle, she was a good friend to both, but Giselle, hope that's not confusing, was convinced, she was convinced that they were secretly shagging. They hadn't, but good luck telling Giselle that. So when her and Scott broke up, she made Michelle choose her or Scott. This was made a little bit easier when Giselle took the baby and moved back to San Diego, which resulted in some legal custody battles, with Scott eventually winning in August 2010 and taking his daughter back to Northern California. Scott and Giselle would see each other, from time to time, the daughter they had together, and Scott would say they sometimes, to quote him, backslid into having relations. So they had a falling out, and to cover all bases, the police went to speak with Giselle to see if she knew anything about what happened to her old friend Michelle.
Let me just say, I would never name my kid Giselle.
Where about Michelle Lee? Michelle?
Oh God, what about her?
She went missing last night from her work.
Okay.
And talking to her friends and such. We understand that you guys had a tumultuous relationship.
A tumultuous relationship? She was my best friend who slept with my then fiance.
Wow.
How long has she been missing?
since yesterday.
And have you guys tried calling her?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how to help you with that. I've actually been trying to look for her.
Since when?
Almost a week now, to tell her to stay away from my daughter.
That sounds weird.
The search continued, and $20,000 would be offered for information leading to her safe return. However, her safe return, that would change. The police had searched her car at Ponderosa Court, and that's when they changed it from a missing persons case to a homicide case.
Oh, shit.
Because they found blood inside her car. The evening Michelle disappeared was the focus. No shit. Why did she leave work early
No shit.
that day, before she was supposed to? Well, a nurse who was working with Michelle, right, she said at about 6:45 p.m., Michelle had come to her and said, listen, she had to get something out of her car. Be right back. She wasn't right back. Seems like something possibly happened in that car park, that maybe she had been lured out by someone. Michelle had left her purse and other items back in her locker.
Seems to be walking
and
weird.
Blood had been found where Michelle's car had been parked.
But didn't she seem to be walking weird right there?
Back. Seems like something possibly happened in that car park, that
Like
maybe
she's on
she had
the
been
right.
lured out by someone.
But she's on the
Michelle
left.
had left her purse and other
She's
items
on the
back
right.
in
Like,
her
what the
locker.
fuck was she doing?
And blood had been found where Michelle's car had been parked.
Whoa.
And inside Michelle's car, an ID for an instructor was found. That ID, though, was really weird. It's not someone Michelle knew, even though it was from her nursing school. So the police backtracked that ID
That's
to
weird.
the school, Michelle was studying at. And that ID was reported stolen just a few days prior. About
Wow.
half an hour after Michelle left that evening, the emergency room at the hospital received a call. The caller was someone claiming to be Michelle, asking to be put through to their instructor, to their teacher. Now, the nurse in the emergency room said she had no idea what she was talking about. The reason being, Michelle was based in the maternity ward, not the emergency room. This person claiming to be Michelle said, it doesn't matter, just tell my teacher that I'm driving around town because my dad had a heart attack and he's at a hospital, but I don't know which one, so I'm just driving around to all of them. I won't be back. Now, Michelle's dad was in Vietnam, so she'd be driving for a while.
Wow.
The search continued. The family weren't happy with how slow.
But that's so weird. It's like somebody's obviously intentionally trying to cover up and make excuses as to why she's not there. And it's like, why would you do that if you're doing something like malicious? That's weird.
The police were, and they hired a private investigator. Eventually, the reward would be increased to $100,000. But nothing was found. A lot of volunteer searches were undertaken. The police released to the family the trail of Michelle's cell phone, which went from the hospital, did a big loop around the city of Hayward, then back again to the hospital, tore out of there, and into remote Alameda County.
That's so weird. Like, why the hell would it return?
A lot of woods and hills, ravines out there.
Like, unless it was somebody else that worked at the hospital maybe that originally stole the ID and they had to go back to like get something out of their car or some shit, and then they got freaked out and decided not to. I mean, I don't really know.
That's where the cell phone last pinged. So, while the family were looking for Michelle, searches and searches going on over the summer of 2011, the number of searchers dwindling each time as May turned to June, to July, and autumn creeped. The police in the meantime were looking for a suspect. And they found an obsession.
I understand at one point you and Michelle were close friends, is that right?
I considered her my sister.
And then what happened?
She made a mistake. Scott made a mistake.
And was that when you were with Scott, or had you guys broken up? Or
Like, see, that's where this is like, in my opinion, you know, something's up just because she's talking with her fucking hand over her face. You know, it's like she doesn't want to look this detective in the eye. Like, what the fuck are you hiding? You know?
No, we were still together.
That's weird.
when was the last time that you and Michelle actually spoke?
I don't know. I don't remember.
What is she doing?
Back in December?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And What has happened since then?
Or she just knows she's fucked and she's like, you know?
I don't know.
How do you feel about the fact that she's missing?
I wish you guys would find her already.
And since you and Michelle used to be so close, what do you think is going on with her?
I don't know. I don't know who she is anymore.
But as far as you know, this would be very unusual for her, right? To have just gone missing?
I don't know. I don't know Michelle anymore. I stopped knowing her a long time ago.
But needless to say, you don't like her.
Yeah, that's evident. That's very clear.
How would you classify your dislike for her?
What do you mean? I just dislike her.
That's a weird question.
I mean, do you hate her? Do you want to see something
I mean,
bad?
obviously not a weird question. Like, she's obviously probing and trying to get her to say something. But, like, if I was that person being asked that question, I'd be like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, how do I classify it? Like, I just don't like her.
Happened to her?
No, I just want her to stay away from my child.
In May 2011, Giselle was 3 months pregnant, again by Scott, and she was living in the Bay Area again to be close with her daughter. But she still hadn't forgotten Michelle. Now remember that ID found in Michelle's car, the one that had been reported stolen. Well, the police tracked it down, and they tracked down to when that ID had been used. And then they got CCTV, maybe they could find out who had stolen it and who had used it.
Good police work.
Yep, that's Giselle wandering around Michelle's nursing school the day before Michelle disappeared. She had gone in earlier that day, posing as a student, checking the place out, and had stolen the card then. The owner of the card was actually out of town that week. The police had given the searchers where Michelle's phone had last been pinged in that remote part of the county. Or at least, that's kind of what they said, because it disconnected there and then reconnected later on. And following that trail, those cell phone pings, they saw Giselle with Michelle's phone, texting. This was about the same moment all of Michelle's friends were getting replies.
What a fucking psycho.
We gotta have a body, and we asked them and they said nobody is found at this time. So we don't think that's a definite proof yet.
Like, I would definitely classify that as an obsession. Going to, like, her place of employment the day before and stealing an ID and then showing up looking like you work there. Like, dude.
A couple of weeks later, Scott called the police and said he had found Michelle's phone in the back of his car. It's almost like he was being set up. When Giselle moved back to the Bay Area to be, close with her daughter, she would see Scott, very often, and she was still giving him shit for having relations with Michelle. He wasn't, but like I said, tell Giselle that. She once threw a hot coffee at him, calling him a sack of shit. In February 2011, she sent this text message to Michelle. If you were really anybody's friend, mine or Scott's, you would just fuck off and leave my family alone. But all you are is a whore who had nothing better to do and followed me to San Francisco. That's all you will ever be. The whore who slept with other people's men and brothers because no one wanted you.
Wow.
You aren't my friend. You were always just a parasite. Seconds after this, psychotic, might be the best word, text, she sent another one, this time to both Scott and Michelle. You two really do deserve each other. I hope you get what you deserve.
She's obviously like a little off her rocker. Like, I mean, I understand having a little bit of resentment and anger for what they did, if they did. But at the same time, like, you can't just be obsessed like this and you gotta let things go. You can't turn into, like, a freak.
You're both pathetic. You with no dreams or goals and other chasing after... Wait, what? You with no dreams or goals and other chasing after someone else's dreams because she has none of her own. Okay? You are both parasites. If you're going to give somebody shit, at least make it grammatically correct. Then, this was something Scott recorded while they were driving with the daughter in the back seat.
I asked you, can we just be honest about Michelle? Because she's the one issue that I really, really am having a hard time doing.
Obviously.
That's not what you said at all.
Yes! Okay, well then fine. Starting from now, we are going to be honest about Michelle. Do you understand me? Whether you sleep with her, whether you share food with her, whether you talk to her, you will be honest with me. Look at me. You will be honest with me regarding her. Otherwise, I will take your life and hers.
What?
And you can take that to the grave with you.
Why?
Why? Because you lied about her so many times, it's hard to believe that you didn't sleep with her. And
Wow, and so, like, dude, this is crazy. Like, for one, he's driving, I'm assuming. And she's saying, like, look at me while you're driving in this awful weather condition with your kid in the back seat. And then she threatens their life like that. And, like, how is he getting away with, like, recording this without her knowing? Like, holy shit.
lock her up. You deserve to die for your lies.
That's scary shit.
And you will. If you do it again, this is your last and final warning.
Why?
Do you understand me? It's your last and final warning.
Dude, what a fucking psycho. Like, if some girl was saying that to me, I'd be like, I'd call the cops and get her the hell away from me.
It would honestly be kind of funny. It's so over the top. Comic book villain. I mean, it would be funny if what happened hadn't happened. Anyways, what a crazy bitch. Scott eventually filed a restraining order.
Good.
Against Giselle.
In
the days before Michelle's disappearance, Giselle had begun texting a friend from college she knew, who also knew Michelle, asking him for Michelle's address as she was trying to get a restraining order against Michelle. Hey, use what you know, right? The day before Michelle disappeared, Giselle solid snaked her way into Michelle's nursing school, spying on her, snooping around, covert-like, trying to learn her schedule. But Michelle hadn't been found. And you know, Giselle, just a small woman.
So, like, I feel like I understand where this is going. Like, I got a feeling that Michelle never left the hospital and it was Giselle that left. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
And she was 3 months pregnant when Michelle was killed.
Police investigating the disappearance of a California nursing student, Michelle Lee, now have a person of interest, they tell us. Authorities are focusing on a former friend who attended high school with Lee.
Esteban is claiming Lee ruined her relationship with the man who is the father of Esteban's child. So far, no charges against Esteban, and she's told local media she had nothing to do with Michelle Lee's disappearance.
The case was strung against her at this point, however. Her DNA was found in Michelle's car. Her phone went where Michelle's phone went. CCTV. History. Eventually, Michelle's blood was found on Giselle's shoes. She was arrested on the 7th of September, 2011.
Jail records indicate that Giselle Esteban is being held on suspicion of murder.
Our primary concern was, is, and will always be to find Michelle.
What a psycho, man.
And bring her home with us. At this point, she is still missing, and we will fight to bring her home every day.
What's that saying they said? There's nothing like a woman scorned?
Until we have her with our family again.
10 days later, Michelle was found in that remote area of Alameda County.
One of the search party members did discover remains, and right now that's all we know. There is nothing that indicates gender with the remains. The body is decomposed.
She was identified via dental records. Her manner of death, undetermined.
Well, the prosecutor opened his remarks by showing the jury a photo of a smiling Michelle Lee. He made some remarks, and then he showed them another photo, a surveillance photo of what's believed to be perhaps her last photo, her walking out of a parking lot near where she was working. According to the prosecutor, the boyfriend, Scott Marisigan, briefly dated Lee for about 3 weeks. Later, he developed a more serious relationship with Esteban. They had a daughter together. He described that relationship as rocky. Said Giselle Esteban was enraged and believed that Michelle Lee ruined their relationship, though prosecutors said really absolutely nothing was going on.
In October 2012, Giselle went on trial. She pleaded not guilty. Her killing Michelle, it's still kind of surprising. I mean, her physically doing it, But no one else was ever linked, so it was likely a surprise attack with a knife or something. Heck, she was doing a lot of other covert shit, so she probably studied that. Her defense was the heat of the moment. She was paranoid, emotionally unstable, having lost custody of her daughter and lost her boyfriend. She just wanted to talk and shit went down. Giselle was found guilty of first-degree murder. In December 2012, she was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison.
Today, an Alameda judge...
That makes you wonder, like, I don't really know how it works, like 25 years to life. Like, does that mean you only get 25 years if you're like good behavior the whole time in jail? Or how that works? Like, how do they determine the exact sentence? When they give you that range, let me know in the comments if you guys know. But it's kind of surprising that she only got 25 years in this situation.
Judge says she never showed a hint of remorse.
He made a really great observation, and we always felt, sitting in trial, that she felt no remorse. Just stared directly at our family with a blank stare.
Giving birth.
Now, see, I give that, I feel that, but like, I don't know, that's a tough one, because it's like, you really can't speak about how somebody else is feeling. Like, you're not feeling what they're feeling. You don't know if she's remorseful inside and she's just putting up a front, you know? Who knows? Who knows how that was?
In prison. And there you have it. What a nut job. Like I said, it's like something from she's a comic book villain in that recording. She sounds like from Batman or something. It's definitely a darker tale of just obsession. You know, it's like from a movie of it just growing and growing and I mean, this took place over 6 years from when Giselle and Scott were first together till 2011. Giselle went completely off the reservation, stalking poor Michelle for a long time.
Do you understand me?
Until she got her. And Michelle, she was completely innocent and everything. Innocent of all the charges Giselle laid against her. She never did anything Giselle said she did. But that's in, reality, though, so. Because in Giselle's head, she did do all that. Who was once her best buddy.
Crazy.
Look at me!
Look at me.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time.
All right, that was the case of finding Michelle Lee. Definitely disturbing, and I'm glad that Michelle got some justice there at the end. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I appreciate you tuning in. Everybody stay safe. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time.
This is the road that I was needing to go. Just forget the negativity and be the person that you want to be. It's all about the good vibes of that good life. My whole life I've wondered what it's like to just give up. But I got no quit in my heart. I got ambition in my soul. Never let life take me down. I'll turn my frown upside down. See a bright, bright future. Finally turn myself around. Sometimes my head runs amok.